Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cullen on Film. We are back, and we're with people that have been on the show before. Quite a bit, actually. Mark Clauburg. Hello.
How many times have we been on?
I don't know. I think
Double digits?
You're close to the record. Well, no, but there's different shows, though, so, you know.
So
but you guys both been on Cullen on Film anyway.
Happy to
and
be
Alex
here.
Aldea is here, so we are here today for...
He's not in his car this time.
No, you're not in your car. No, not at all.
I bought this prop for many reasons.
Look at
We'll
that
find
thing.
out as we go.
Yeah.
All right.
So we are here today. We are going to talk about a new project that you have, that you are coming together with. So, and the name of this project is?
There's something wrong with Paul.
Is there something wrong with Paul?
Oh, there's
Yeah.
definitely something wrong with Paul.
So it is a little dark, a little different. What were you thinking when you came up with this idea for this film?
Well, I remember talking to CJ over the summer, and he's like, "I want to produce something, write something."
That's true.
So I think you're responsible for me starting to even write something, and then obviously we're all like in the the midsummer, locked in our homes, and the only thing that's going to come out is something dark. So I was watching a bunch of messed up movies, and I'm like, all right, the challenge is on. So then I wrote something a little crazy about a very dysfunctional family, and then got this guy involved.
Hey, I'm that guy.
What is that? Air conditioning going on?
Oh, sounds like something's taking off out of
It
here.
doesn't sound good.
On that note,
In
I'm
the
Alex
studio.
Aldea. Happy to be on the show. But got involved and really enjoyed. Man, my voice sounds
Maybe it's
weird
the
in these
bathroom.
It
headphones.
does not.
It does?
Oh, in the headphones.
Yeah.
It's up here, right?
You sound good in my headphones.
Let's
You always
switch.
sound good about headphones.
No, I happy to be a part of it and fascinated by the whole idea behind Mark's. I saw Preparation, which I think was your first foray into doing horror or horror-esque
Yeah.
type things, and
Yeah,
then
pretty much.
I said, "Wow, that was pretty damn cool." So really wanted to be a part of something like that, and having worked with Mark on a couple of previous projects and really enjoyed my experiences on those, I said, "Absolutely, yeah, definitely want to be a
Yeah,
part
and
of
the thing about horror is that this one's a genre bender, so it doesn't really
Not
fit
really
into
horror.
a box. No, I mean it starts as
It's everything.
a drama, and then kind of dips into a comedy, and then goes back
Yeah.
to a drama, and at the end, there's a lot of blood, and it dips into a horror, and
Horror-esque,
So-
thriller-esque. What else
Yeah.
can it be? Dark comedy. All these genres that it could fit into.
I would call it a strong family thriller. So there's a lot of family overtones here, a lot
Just
of
no
family
kids watching this thing.
dysfunction. Well,
it's
it's funny. Yeah.
good. What's
I
funny?
just think that you don't see the end coming per se. I think it's an interesting twist.
Love twist endings, yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that really hits, really comes to a point,
There you
if
go.
you will.
You don't spoil
But
it,
It's got arrowheads in it. And,
or a bullet.
now who's spoiling it?
yeah. No
but-
spoils here.
No spoilers. Yeah. By the way, Death Wish coffee, awesome.
Yeah,
Big
there you
fan.
go. Yeah.
Big fan of the
He's
Death
trying to
Wish.
get more free Death Wish coffee. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
So-
pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
And they're on board with that. So I think that.
So-
no, but
That was the first film you saw of Mark's that got was the Preparation, or
no, I saw Mark's. Probably the first film that I saw was
Last Visit?
Yes, definitely Last Visit, and then of course My Dad and Bob Todd, which ostensibly, and I've told him this, is my favorite movie that he's done. It's a very different type of thing, and it's a very different vibe. There's a whole alchemy to the film, the way it comes together. And I was like, "What? Do like more of that kind of stuff?" Or
No,
at least-
and I think I had his
Yeah.
voice in the back of my head, like since he said that, because that was I don't know. Sometimes I equate like the budget of a movie compared to, the response to a movie, and that was by far the lowest budget.
Yeah.
and
And
so
was it the
writing
quickest
this,
turnaround too? Like the
Oh yeah, we did it in one day. I wrote it like a couple weeks before, and the response was very positive. Audience reaction, they're always laughing, and I think I kind of just wanted to like go back to that situation. Obviously, the new one's a little crazier, but it is probably
Darker,
the closest to that,
I think so.
taking it to the next level.
There's a lot of moments that really stand out in this movie that I think are just just great moments, great acting moments. So being able to be a part of that, the actual cast as it moves forward, and great moments of setup, of plot, of writing that really gets it. I think it's going to be a crowd pleaser. I think people are going to
How
really
was
enjoy
the casting process for you?
For me specifically?
Yes. And you got to do it with some people.
He was in from day one, but I still made him audition.
Yeah, he totally did. He's like, you got the part, but you still have to audition for it. No, I'm kidding. He's like, this is a
But you
very
worked with the
serious-
other actors.
a bunch of them. So I auditioned with a bunch of names, folks that people will know. I think it was a very well put together and very meaty acting process. A lot of things were happening. Very robust is the word I'm looking for. A lot of different iterations of, let's flip the cast this way, let's flip it that way, get some other people inside, and see how everybody kind of melds with everybody else, see if it gels. And I think we got the group that best gelled together.
Well, what do you think about like what we did with the distancing and the in-person
the
versus
COVID-
the
the COVID
virtual stuff?
issues.
My personal thing, and being a more old school kind of guy, you gotta just be there. I don't know how you do, and I'm sure people do it and they do it well, doing a Zoom casting session kind of thing.
That's basically what they're doing nowadays. You know?
Right. And especially like EcoCast Live, I do a fair amount of auditions that are on that, which is great because you can get feedback from the producers or the casting director and then adjust your performance. But doing it live, there's just such a, and I hate to overuse this word, but an alchemy that comes around when people are just all in the same room. And of course, there were face shields and doing the masks and everything. But just having somebody to react to on that level, I think, is unparalleled. It's something you gotta have to get the best effect out of your actors and everything else. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely. So tonight we were just going to talk about this film a little bit, but get into other things as well. But we just thought we'd get this out there and talk about it a little bit. And you got some people aboard for producing. Are you thinking of trying to get more producers? Are you done with that? Or?
I mean, I don't think we're ever done with it. So I think part of the reason for tonight is just to kind of get the word out there that we're working on
something.
this project. Bringing Rebecca Rappaport-Cole back, who was in My Dad and Bob Todd, which we just talked about. And she's great. If anybody's interested in getting involved in an exciting
Either
new project, we're here and we'll listen. I mean,
part of it, maybe an associate producer or even executive producer. You can always put more in, be the top dog. But it's to get word out there, because I'm sure there's people out there like, you know what, it's time to make a movie, right? 'Cause it's been a long time, so
People
maybe
are
they want to
itching.
get involved.
Yeah,
so
you're
that's
saying.
the thing. A lot of people
Well said.
want to, since it is a small film and small amount of people, so maybe people are like, oh, I want to get involved. I want to do it. Let's do it.
Christian,
Never
do we
know.
have anybody waiting?
Now you would see them
Not
right
yet.
there. So, see, right there. There's no one there.
Just literally no one waiting.
No one's waiting.
Well, we'll carry on.
Well, no, we do have a couple people from the film joining us later, which will be
Yes,
exciting. To talk
that'll be
about.
very cool.
Absolutely. So, when do you expect for possible shooting at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. My goal was always first quarter of 2021. I don't think that's quite going to happen, but I think it's going to be close, which is good. With everybody kind of getting vaccinated now, I don't know.
on
Part of me is like,
Saturday.
let's wait till everybody gets their second vaccination. But everybody's different. Not everybody's qualified. All these different reasons.
Yeah.
But we did follow a lot of all the protocols for SAG on the in-person.
Absolutely.
Like Alex
More
said.
than, I think.
Oh, yeah. Temperature measurements. If we did shoot before everybody was vaccinated, we definitely would do, 3 days before, required a test, all the protocols that SAG puts forth.
And
So-
do you have to bring in a COVID person?
Well, so I spoke with a couple friends at SAG, and this is an interesting thing. They're in a period of transition with some of the things that they're making possible for shorter films, to where you don't necessarily have to. It's not as onerous as
You
it would
just
be
follow the
on a
protocol.
full guideline. Yeah, I think if you follow the protocol, you might have to have maybe a nurse on set or something like. I still have to figure out exactly what's
That
going
or
on.
like
but-
I know someone like Larry has the
Our friend-
cert for
Yep.
the COVID. So
yeah. And
Yeah.
he'll be on set
Yeah,
regardless.
that is
And
the
so
minimum. Yeah, Larry Rosen.
Larry Rosen
is doing
good friend of the show, and
blood
good
and
friend of
special
ours.
effects makeup.
Yeah,
So it's a family drama, but we still need a blood person.
can't have
Spoiler
can't have
alert.
family drama without blood.
Gotta have
Absolutely.
blood. Gotta have that blood. So, yes, a lot of productions I've seen behind the scenes where everyone that's working behind the scenes has a mask on the whole time. The actors do in rehearsal, but then when it's time to shoot, that's when they're the only ones that have the mask off at that certain time. Some people have the big shield and they rehearse with the shield and not the mask, but just the shield.
The shield is good because you can see people's faces.
Yeah, that's
and
why
it's
they do that,
just is easier to react to that. I mean, it's kind of
Is it easy?
big
I
floppy
wonder if
thing,
it's easy
but
to take off because you have it on in rehearsal and you take it off and then you go, you shoot.
it's basically like wearing a headband, really. I mean, it kind of just fits up here, and that's
When
You feel like a dog, you know.
we did the
dog
in-person
It's not like an upside down lampshade.
the in-person audition, and
Yeah.
you wore the shield,
Yeah.
but you were also distant more than 6
Oh
feet away
no,
on the stage.
more like 10 feet
So-
apart. But
Do you think that was so? Like that distance plus the shield, it was in person. So you prefer in person? Was that better than virtual? Well, I mean, obviously, it's still not as
we also
intimate
did it
as you would like.
virtually later. So, and I was in my car as per usual when I do interviews for some reason.
Yes, love doing interviews in cars. Are you trying to audition for comedians in coffee in cars?
In cars getting coffee?
whatever they call it.
Jerry, I love
Jerry,
you.
yeah.
I hope you're watching the show.
So-
and
We said we have a few guests coming on.
Yeah.
We have
You wanna pivot
people
to,
waiting in here, and you want to talk about the documentary.
Yeah, let's pivot to that.
So
just pivot.
you made a documentary not
Pivoting
too
now.
long ago,
Preparing to pivot.
and The Girl Next Door that won many awards and played at many film festivals, and it was a tough one to watch. Different, right? But real life, real story. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's about my sister's good friend growing up who overdosed from heroin 5 years ago. We made a documentary, 22-minute documentary, played like 2 years ago on the circuit. And unfortunately, the father of the girl who passed away died from COVID on Saturday after a long struggle. So I wouldn't mind bringing my sister on now to kind of talk about what that's been like and maybe, revisit what Robert Campbell, the man who died on Saturday, what he meant, because he gave us the permission to kind of share his daughter's story. And I think, if we change one person's life, if there's any addicts in the audience and they kind of get that message, I think it helps. So if you want to bring her on, maybe we can ask her a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Rebecca. There she is.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Hey, Beck.
So we're talking about your documentary, and did you want to say a few words about the man who just passed away? That
I'm echo.
you're echoing? I don't know. You're okay. You hear an echo? I don't hear an echo.
Not on our side. If it's. Oh, look at this. Try now.
Yeah, if you put headphones in, then you can,
Sorry.
I didn't hear echo on our end.
Wow. I love those features. There's a kick from studio and a ban from studio, too.
What's that?
What, if you get too frisky or something?
The power to ban, perma-ban from the studio.
Sorry, I'm just gonna have an echo. I don't.
right.
My head don't fit in my.
No echo on
It's
this
okay.
side.
We don't hear you.
Yeah.
You're not echoing on live on the air, so you're fine.
All right. So,
Did you want to talk about? Was it Robert? You said?
yeah, Robert
Yeah.
Campbell.
So Robert Campbell had passed 5 years ago. He was in the hospital. I want to say like mid-December. He had COVID, and
It's cutting.
I feel like it happened so suddenly. And everybody was praying for him. He was getting better. He had something wrong with his lung, and that got in his lungs. So what happened? I don't know. I didn't time he had left. So we were all just there for Karen, who's his mother, and wife, Lydia. He got put in a coma, and I know it was a couple days after that. My mom, she came in my room and he's gone. I was shocked because he was like posting status on Facebook like I'm okay, feeling better, but his lungs just couldn't fight it, and I know it was just a really hard struggle. Them and just everything that's going on right now. Like I'm still it.
Yeah, and his wake is tomorrow, and then his funeral is on Saturday, so we'll be attending that. But I still go back to him, fresh off his daughter, what happened to his daughter.
How many years ago was
we
this?
Had him over for pizza, and
right?
we asked for permission because me and Rebecca had this idea to tell her story, and he was just like right away. He's
in it, right?
Yeah, he's in it. It's 22 minutes long. He's probably on screen for a good 7-8 minutes of that 22, just telling the story of what happened. And I just remember there was several of the screenings were pretty large. There was one in New York City in particular.
Yeah.
Where they bust in a bunch of current, and I guess you're never an ex-addict, but addicts, and there was just like 150 addicts in the audience. And I remember that particular screening, and the Q&A was pretty intense, and they were glued to the screen, and they were asking Rebecca specifically all these questions afterward.
And and then you showed at a Christmas festival down in Tom's River, and you had a lot of family, right?
Yeah, that was our premiere, so that was the first time the family saw it. I think we had 40 from the family there, which was pretty intense, and then got up for an emotional Q&A after that one. And then there was a bunch of screenings that weren't film festival related. They were we screened at hospitals, we screened at recovery centers, and I remember just going to like at least 5 or 6 of these things with Rebecca, and there would always be parents in the audience who they have a child who's struggling with addiction. And they just were so lost and didn't know what to do, how to approach their child to get them on the right path. And it was just really great to see Rebecca talk them through it, because she works in not specifically the drug addiction field, but in social sciences and things like that. So, Rebecca, what do you remember about those Q&As from either the screenings or the the hospitals and the support centers?
Do you hear her right? Because every other word's clicking out.
Can you hear? You can hear me?
Now it's better. Now it's
better,
good.
yeah.
Okay. What sticks out to me is just the responses that we would get from, like you said, the parents. And I can remember one time a woman standing up and she was actually like videotaping us. Like, do you remember that? I think that was the New York Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
There must have been like 40 people in that audience, and they all were coming at us with questions and sharing their stories, and just, like, can't believe, like, just sharing their condolences. And I felt like, I wasn't alone. Like, there was other people going through this, and grieving, and, having their kids going through this addiction when I just lost my friend. And another thing that stuck out was, I think when we screened at the hospital, I think there was other people with us talking about, because they worked like specifically with people who are struggling with addiction, and they were in like 2 or 3 years of recovery. And just hearing what they had to say, I felt like we were actually learning about it even more than we already knew, like, because they were so deep into it. So we were learning like different aspects of it when we only knew like Kate's story. We were learning other people's stories. And I just felt like it kind of brought us all together in a way, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and
You know,
to bring it full circle, it wouldn't have happened without Robert. So I want to keep his.
okay, yeah. So Robert, yeah. So I was reading his obituary, and something that really stuck out to me was they said he had that larger than life personality. And I just feel like that's so true. You know, like I've known him since knew him since I was like 4 years old. You know, since he was my neighbor, and kind of like they're like my second family. So I grew up always with Kate and her dad, and she lived there for most of her life. And just, you know, he was so strong, very hardworking. Like he worked even when he was sick. I can't remember his exact, like, he had something wrong with his lungs even before he had COVID, but he was like working during COVID. And, you know, his ethic, like he just loved what he did, and he was always um, just a very special person. Um, Especially to Caitlin, to Karen, his mother, like they're really close. His wife Lydia, just such a special family.
Well, I think Christians shared the link to the documentary in the chat.
Thank you for that.
So
I was going to ask, where can we see that now? Where is it?
yeah, it's we're like on the cusp of 2,000 views. It's like 1,990 something. So maybe a couple people take a look at it.
Check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. 1967.
It's on Vimeo.
Yeah, it's on Vimeo. So the link's in the chat. So check that out. 22 minutes.
It had a long run too in the film festival market.
Good 18 months. So.
Well worth the watch.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw it in Atlantic City. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping on, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And next up we have who?
This would be a tough pivot, isn't it?
I know, right? You gotta
I keep using that word. Pivot.
Time to pivot.
You gotta learn to just turn it around. Let's go. So, what do we have here? Who's up next?
Tara.
Yep. So
I
Tara.
think it's just Tara.
Tara. Not the British Tara.
No,
but
Tara.
We can ask her.
Well, we can ask her, yeah.
It's Tara. My sister's
There
name
she
is
is.
Tara.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Tara.
Good. How are all of you?
So, can you tell us about how you came about meeting Mark?
It's really interesting. I moved to New York in August 2020, sort of in the middle of the pandemic, to attend the grad cinema program at NYU Tisch. And we have a mutual contact in common, who's actually in the film, Rebecca Rappaport Cole. She is fantastic. I knew her in Toronto, which is where we're both from, and she let me know about Mark's work. I watched some of his recent films, and I was really keen to work on some of his next projects, which ended up working out because Mark was finishing up shooting Vitriol, the documentary, and now we'll be working on Paul together as well.
Sounds good.
So I needed somebody to help with. I'm shooting this like the political documentary about
Vitriol.
Vitriol.
Is that all done?
Yeah, it's all done. Well, it's shot, but I'm still editing it. And then this guy I actually tapped to be the narrator because last time I didn't have a narrator. This time I think I need a narrator to kind of like lead the thread through the film. So I've started writing that. So
In the world.
we'll be doing that in the next couple weeks. I needed somebody because who people had lined up, fell through, and then she just came as a
Morgan
PA,
Freeman didn't work out,
but she took over the whole damn day,
busy.
and I was very impressed because she's
yeah,
just very super responsible, and obviously going to NYU, she's super smart. And then there's like a million other things that I found out that she does, like not even related to film. So from Toronto.
How is taking classes during COVID, especially like NYU film stuff?
Well, when I moved to New York, I had blended classes. So I had a visa that was approved because I was supposed to have one class in person. And I moved here. I was setting up my apartment. I had like 3 days before school started, and then that class went virtual. So here I am living in New York with no real reason to be here.
Yeah.
But I, started looking for work here in the industry. I have a lot of experience from working in Toronto, but it's a very different world out here. And being on set with Mark was one of the first in-person experiences I had in the city. It was a great introduction to the New York film scene. Now I'm still in virtual classes. I am TAing some of the undergraduate classes in the arts program at NYU Tisch as well. It's exciting. We have to sanitize a lot of equipment to make those classes happen, but we just keep plugging along, because it is really important in film to be able to have students in person so that they can learn all the technical stuff. So
yeah, we have. I know a young filmmaker girl who's a freshman there at NYU in film and acting, Haley Pine, and she's a go getter.
Mm-hmm.
She's really out, and she started her own film festival.
I don't think you get into that program unless you've got your.
No, she knows. She's got her head together. Yeah,
she's pretty
good one.
High level.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you excited and ready to work on a short film of this caliber?
I am so excited. I'm so
understand
excited.
what it's like.
Of this caliber?
Of this caliber.
Of this caliber?
Puns aside, all puns aside.
Different from a documentary is what I was trying to come across.
I think she worked on bigger stuff before this one.
Yeah.
It's all awesome. I'm very excited. I was lucky enough to participate in the casting of this film, and I read the script before the day we were doing the casting, which was, we were actually on set for another film. And I loved the script, but seeing it brought to life by all of the talent who came in that day, but especially the cast that we ended up with, was such an amazing experience. I had never been part of casting for a narrative before, because most of my work prior to this year was in documentary filmmaking. So it was really exciting, and I just knew I wanted to continue on the project. So I'm very, very much looking forward to bringing it to life.
Can I just say, being there that day with my actor brain, it was a little weird being in front face to face after a while doing this, and Tara made everybody feel very comfortable. And I think I just want to thank her for that. That was very nice to be able to be greeted and, kind of shown a very professional side to everything. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Tara, do you want to plug that documentary? That didn't it just the trailer come out yesterday or something?
For
the documentary, the political, the two guys at the diner, they're like at a diner and they're
political. Two guys in a diner.
Oh, Battleground.
I feel like mine is like a smaller scale, because there was still like political divisiveness in that documentary.
Battleground, which actually aired on PBS in October, but it's back on the air now. So I think it's circulating now again. It's been out, I think, for about 2 weeks now. The co-directors have been running a sort of virtual film festival for it, which has been really exciting to watch. But I was working on the production end or post-production end of Battleground when I met Mark in the fall. And I think we were about 2 weeks from its release. It was a very busy time. But none of that work at that point was in person. So it was definitely a breath of fresh air to get to be on set again and working in person with other creative people.
Now, I teach 6 film classes in high school, and we are on documentary filmmaking right now. We just started it. Would you have any advice for a young filmmaker that is just doing their first documentary ever?
I think it's really important to keep in mind who your audience will be, who you hope your audience to be, and really think about how you're going to speak to them and how you're going to reach them in the most authentic way possible, and to just get involved and learn as much as you can from the people around you. I think being on set really is the best way to learn and pick up techniques and then develop your own style. I know that every time I walk onto a set, I learn so much from the crew and the cast. And you know, in my own program, we've been talking a lot about the changing context of the world and what kinds of topics and issues we want to tackle in documentaries moving forward. And it's a really interesting time to see how film is going to cover this, you know, flood of new topics that we have available to us, given everything that happened in the last year.
Well said.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're working on, I think we had a documentary that's going around on students in COVID, and this was done last year. So now we're doing a year later. A year later. So we're starting that. So there are kids back in
for
school.
Another narration.
I had one class today. I had, because you know it's half and half. There's a couple of kids in, and they come every day. I had 16 kids in the class today out of 28. So
That's awesome.
It's getting there. They're coming back. So it's been an interesting time.
Is it
we're having the same experience?
Same type of thing.
Tara should stay on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Stay on. Stay here. We got another guest coming in, so we're gonna click on
RRC.
Awesome.
RRC. There she is.
Hello.
I'm learning so much about my fellow Canadian. What's up?
Hi, it's good to see you again.
So professional.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. You like my
background over there. Look at that.
Yep. You know, limited space. So this is like the audition podcast acting class space.
I gotta get one of those. When I'm at home doing this, I get like little tiny posters behind me way in the back. I gotta get like a cool screen or
Get yourself
something.
a green screen. Man.
I know, a green screen. Put myself in like Florida or Hawaii or something.
Yeah, you could do that. I stick with the blue, but hi guys, nice to meet you.
It's been a long
Hello,
time.
everybody. It's so nice to feel together in some capacity.
So if we go way back a little bit, how did you meet this guy and get involved in his films?
This is one of my favorite stories that I've told a lot.
Never heard
So if you've heard it,
Never heard it.
So I was an opera singer in a former life a few years ago. And then I made some changes, showed up here. That's a longer story. But I auditioned for Mark's film Preparation.
No.
And I made it to callbacks. I think final callbacks. That hasn't been confirmed, but I think it was I was down to the wire, right? Okay, but I didn't book it. But I got the nicest note from Mark. And I sent it to both of my parents because it made me feel less crazy for leaving opera to go into film with no experience. It was just the nicest note. Something about my energy being a little too bubbly for the role. I don't know what that was about. Just kidding, I know. And so then Mark cast me in something out of that energy that I suppose I bring into the room. And that turned out to be My Dad and Bob Todd, which was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Which you killed it in.
Yeah. You're perfect for that role.
Yeah. He writes characters named Rebecca, and then I play them, and then I read them. I'm like, is this what he thinks of me? But maybe it is.
So going from that character to the one you're going to be playing this time around.
Yeah.
Different.
Very different. Very different, which is great. But, you know, they're all different sides of a human being. And in these short films, sorry, go ahead.
But you were also part of the other one that's going out there right now, the time in
yes.
between.
Yep. That was my first therapist role. I did another one this summer, so I felt like really prepared because of that film.
Do you want to brag about the other one?
I did a really cool film with a company called Stag Pictures, a short film called Andronicus, which starred Eric Roberts and his lovely wife, Eliza Roberts, myself, and a lovely new actor named Kimball Farley. And it's a short film where I was a therapist, and then it's being turned into a feature, hopefully next fall. So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Bob Todd film played in many festivals, and we saw you at a few of them.
Yes, it
It
was
was a lot
nice
of
to meet
fun.
you in person. I felt like I'd heard so much about you, and then finally getting to meet you was great.
Yeah,
Those
absolutely.
festivals are really fun.
They are, yeah.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, they're all online right now.
Yes,
So we're
for
hoping
now.
soon we'll be able to go back to.
Soon. Mhm.
So I have to say I acted with Rebecca before, but not with her, just in the same movie. So I'm excited to actually be in
In
the
the
same
time
room
in the time in
around.
between the
guys-
The
seconds.
time in between
You
the
guys get to
seconds.
yell at each other a little bit.
Yeah,
I was
that's
in that.
true.
I was in that movie too, by the way.
Yeah, he's in it.
I was in that
We're
movie.
all in it. I'm big happy.
But it was cool to work together, even in the callback for this.
That was fun. That was
Yeah, that was a really cool experience. The script is really intense,
yeah.
and everybody did so much work that they brought so much, and it was really interesting to feed off each other, even in this, COVID audition world where we're quite far apart from each other and have screens on. But that was a really interesting experience to see it come to life. I felt pretty shaky after. Alex, did you?
I did.
Yeah.
And I felt like I left a lot of stuff there. And I'm like, all right, that was a good audition. There's just a lot of stuff. And, even when we did the Zoom session, followed up once I guess the cast was mostly set up, it just felt good. It was like a good gelling already happening. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
good.
remember Rebecca's the in-person one, especially when she just like, I don't know, she entered like another stratosphere when you started screaming and yelling, and then I think the whole room kind of was silent after that. It was
I don't really remember it. But
yeah, because
that's
you were
when
probably
yeah.
so in the moment that it's not something unless you're an outsider you recognize. But oh my god, it was crazy.
totally.
Yeah,
in the
you
best
gave
in the
me.
best possible way. In the best possible because that's what
It's really fun to tackle issues and characters that aren't always seen, and without giving much away, from a humane standpoint for everybody involved. You have
Yeah.
compassion for everybody in this situation, which I think is why it's such a great script.
So we were initially going to do an Indiegogo, and I decided against it because we kind of figured that we did have just enough funds to do it with producers on board. So that got scrapped. But there was a segment of it that was, I call it the actor's profile. So I sent Christian a link to that video. If you guys, because we talked about Alex, we talked about Rebecca, but there's some other really great actors in it. So if
You want to play it?
it's 3 minutes long, and Rebecca taped a segment for it. Thank you. I thought it came out pretty well, but you get an idea of who's on board, and we're all excited to make this movie.
Just in case people want to produce.
I'm Jack Sock, and I play Paul. He's one of the members of the family, and as the saying goes, you can always judge a book by its cover. What drew me to the film was I love the script. I think it really shows family in its true form, and I love Grey Machine's work.
This film takes a really difficult subject and explores it through the lens of a family and their relationships to the issue and to each other. Because this is an ensemble piece, I get the chance to work with some really amazing actors, including writer-director Mark Clauburg, whom I've had the pleasure of working with twice before, and will always take the chance to work with again and again and again.
First thing I noticed when I read the script was how quickly a very complicated situation comes into focus. And the second thing I noticed was how deep it goes and how short a time. Those are two of the hallmarks of a really good short screenplay, so I was on board already. And then I started thinking about the character, and I realized that the way Mark's written it, the character's action is very clear on the surface, but there's also an opportunity for the actor to show you what's going on underneath, so that you're watching the show on two levels, on the level of the action and on the level of why is this action taking place. That's something I always look for as an actor in a role, so I am really thrilled to be on board and playing Dominic in Mark's film, There's Something Wrong with Paul.
I wanted to be part of this project because I had seen some of Mark Clauburg's work, and I thought it was brilliant. And I think he has a unique way of telling a story. I think he is a master of poetic realism.
He is very good with actors in general. He's an actor's director. He's an incredibly insightful writer and someone who really works extremely hard to nail down characters, to flesh out storylines, and really create an entire world in a very, very short amount of time.
For people watching it at home or in a movie theater, I think you'll be surprised. And also you'll relate to family dynamics and how we always end up going back to our old roles.
You will not feel comfortable when you're watching this. You will feel uncomfortable. But if you stay open, you'll think a lot. Maybe you'll re-examine some ideas in your own life, some of your own family members, the way we treat people. Maybe you won't, but I invite you to come with an open mind and see what you think about after.
Man, you're in for a wild ride. It's going to be interesting, and it gets going pretty quick. So hang on to your butts and enjoy it, because there is something wrong with Paul.
Nice. Good.
That was masterful editing.
Yes.
Because I gave him nothing to work with there.
No. Just remind me, if I ever have to fire anyone, I'll have you write them a letter.
Here's a short film about why you're not working here anymore.
So wait, is there something wrong with Paul, Alex?
Oh, I mean, you gotta.
I'm teasing you. That's what you just said.
Is that what I said?
No.
I mean, I didn't
In the video.
It. I'm a
in
liar
the video.
and a fraud on so many levels. No, well, that's just the title, and I wanted to reiterate it, and I'm not giving anything away. So
Hope to
there you
see
go.
it in a film festival near you a year from now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
In
watch.
person.
Hopefully in person.
In person, yeah.
That is the goal.
But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks,
Always
Tara.
a pleasure.
Nice to be
Thank
here.
you.
Nice to see you guys. Take care. See you soon.
Safe.
Bye.
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 So, where are we in this process right now?
Well, Alex is a producer in the film, and he's also a very good location scout. So we've been working on that recently, trying to figure it out.
Very much so, and I think we've got a couple of great possibilities for locations, and I think we're in really good shape. So sometime this spring, even if it's late
Close
spring,
by, far away, up north, down here, New York.
Well, we're looking at Jersey, preferably somewhere closer to the city, but that remains to be seen. There's a couple of really strong possibilities for what we have going.
Again,
on,
this is just a few, almost like your comedy. It's just a couple of places, not too.
Yeah, not too many.
Yeah, I mean, but there is a scene in the driveway. There's a scene in the bathroom, and then most of it's at a dining room table.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's 7 crew and 5 actors, so a 12-person set.
It's not too bad for the COVID times to work that.
I think of it as if anyone's seen 12 Angry Men or something like that, where it's a bit of a pot boiler. I think it's very smartly decided that it's going to be a small amount of locations to really kind of increase that feel of mounting tensions and various things that happen throughout. So I think it's most of the dynamism of the movie comes from the acting, not so much like the various locations.
Now, when you make your films, you have sort of not the same look, but kind of the same filmmaking type style. Your style, Are you going to change it up completely and be totally different this time around?
So I'm working with Bob Klein, the director of photography on this one.
So it also is working with different DPs.
Yeah.
and
Everybody
stuff.
has
That
their own
does
style
thing, but
yeah,
are you thinking as a director, I just want to go completely different?
I worked on 2 films with Dustin, Preparation and In Time Between Seconds, and Dustin's a very aesthetic, artsy.
Yeah. But you
kinda
can see
guy.
that you have that feel in those films,
Yeah.
even though they're different. You have that feel.
Bob is like a combo of that aesthetic, artsy person, but very straightforward applicable style
Mhm.
probably works faster and more in tune to like corporate stuff, which I love that part about him. But he still lights the hell out of a scene
Yeah.
from the stuff that I've seen from him. So I've been talking about Bob, and we're talking about settling in on an aspect ratio. We took Bob along on some of the location scouts, so definitely get his input on that. And then the other Bob has his gaffer bringing along. We have a production designer, Ryan C. Scott, who wanted to make it tonight, but he's got to save the days. He's going to save the days for the shoot because he's a hard worker.
He can come on. He can pop on.
He can.
So
What about Bob?
Yeah.
What about Bob?
What about Bob?
Where is he?
Larry Rosen is going to do
He's doing
another
his pizza,
producer.
He's doing his pizza podcast right now.
Is he?
Pizza and beer.
So,
Pizza and Beer podcast.
I asked Larry to do blood effects many months ago, and he agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have Larry on.
Mhm.
And then Tara invited a PA, so we'll have a PA, and then my best friend Pete Lasowski, who does the music on all my films, he's already wrote like 30 songs for this movie.
Yeah.
So that like
So you have to
the
narrow
two
it
songs
down.
in that piece there
Yeah.
are like this gotta gotta use it in something. So he's always churning it out. I'll give him themes and ideas, and he always comes back with something new.
Bless you.
Bless you.
So,
Yeah. As we talk in the ghost subway is going above us right now.
so
Pete's,
yeah, so
Pete's great.
Metro 7.
The music choices are stellar.
Absolutely.
I've now heard him on a bunch of
Everything that
different
Pete touches with the music always seems to work well.
Yeah, and he doesn't have an ego. Like if and early on I wouldn't, but now I can tell him anything. He won't take it personal.
No.
He wants to get it right for the vision of the original vision of the film. And this one's exciting too because there's a lot of quiet moments in this.
Mhm.
There's not. I mean, there's people talking, but the parts where the music's going to be are the quiet. Well, they're not quiet. There's violence in some of them, and
Yeah.
he gets to do what he did in preparation, which is make like the more bombastic music, which he's excited about because he doesn't have to be secondary. He gets to be front and center, which I can't wait to see what he comes up with because half the stuff is already good. We can listen to it later tonight.
So it's not going to be.
I'm excited.
It's not going to be too long though because this was it's not going to be a long short.
Yeah, no, it's going to be 15 minutes or less.
No, I think we've learned
About
that lesson. Some of the stuff I've worked on and some of the stuff Mark's done where, he said his opuses and his things he's done, but
a little bit more of an edit.
Yeah, the script is 13, 14 pages. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be in that area. It's not going to.
Absolutely.
That's the sweet spot, I think.
Speaking of 13, 14-page script, Mark and I are going to be doing my movie later on in this year, which
Okay.
is going to be very cool. More towards the summertime.
And why don't you talk a little more about it?
Well, it's called Eden Run, and I don't want to say too much about it so far.
So there's going to be a follow up after this.
Well, not of this movie.
No, not of this movie.
It's
No,
its own
the
thing.
direct
next
sequel.
It's its own-
totally different, but direct
There's
sequel.
something wrong
direct
with Eden.
sequel
Yeah.
featuring.
No, I meant
performances by
the next film that you're probably going to be doing.
Yeah, that's going to be something where it's kind of Mark's coming on to my movie, and we're going to be, in essence, I think, co-directing it.
Yeah, I mean, he asked me to direct it, but then I kind of talked it over with him, and I don't have an ego when it comes to this stuff, and I thought that he's so close to it that I would rather co-direct it.
Mm.
And if it comes out good, I'll take all the credit.
There you go.
There you go.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a Gray Machine film and a Here to Help Productions film, and it'll be a lot of fun. At this point, we've got another actor who's ostensibly on, but I don't want to mention his name just yet, just in case. But if you have me back later on, we'll chat more about it.
It's another small film where not too many places, not too many actors,
and for a very similar reason, where you wanna have that potboiler effect, where it just starts to percolate, and you get a little bit of that claustrophobic feel to it, but at the same time, it just focuses you on the dialogue and the acting a little bit more, more like a play in a sense.
Yeah, and I think the budget for that probably would be bit more. No, it's because it's essentially a sci-fi movie. So there's
a little bit of effects.
There needs to be some effects at some point, or at least in the sound desigin. If we don't pull off
how much
effects.
more? Probably around the same, little more maybe.
Right, but production design is another thing. This is a very in the words in this script. It's very detailed about what exists in this room, and so It's a smaller movie, but it's definitely.
Would you do since you didn't do it this time around the Indiegogo, since you got the funding and stuff? Would you do it for that one,
No, I don't think so.
or like a
it
Seated
just-
Spark
no,
or something like that, like
it-
something not Indiegogo, but like
Well, I will say this: I have zero problem with anybody doing it, and I respect a lot of the folks. In fact, I just spoke with a friend of ours, former collaborator, Alexandra, who's doing a movie right now, and they're on Seed and Spark and doing really well. And I want to support that.
it's
as
tough
much
to
as I can.
do. It's tough to get
Well,
that.
it's tough to do
You
and
just
stuff
gotta
to do
it right.
well. It's just for me, I don't think I'll need it monetarily. I think we're going to be okay budget wise. And look, I reserve the right to change my mind, but at this point, I don't think so. I think we're going to be okay
Absolutely.
with it. Yeah, and I kind of want to keep it under wraps until it's time to, let it out. So I don't want to say too much about it, but I'm excited.
Are you
I'm
done
excited to
writing
work
it?
with Mark. Oh yeah, done writing it, ready to go. Secured location. So yeah, we should be pretty good. Just gonna do his first, and then jump into this one.
So we're around that point that we kind of promote things and what's coming up. So you guys kind of said what's coming up, but anything after that or anything going on right now that you want to talk about?
I have another. It's a web series. It's a fun kind of comic web series called Daddy Delphia, where I play a guy who runs a sort of cult in the middle of North Carolina, and some millennials drunkenly stumble into it. My friend Harold, this is his work, and I don't want to say too much about it until he's ready to kind of put it out there. But I'm very, very excited to do this role. It's a little bit of voiceover stuff that I haven't done a lot of, and just tons of auditions coming in. So
and you're voicing you're voicing his documentary.
And of course, yes, he's already said that.
Yeah,
So
good segue. So that the only thing I would talk about is Vitriol. So that'll come out before my dad and Bob Todd. Before
did that come out? Are you re-releasing that one?
I think it's coming out after that one.
The sequel.
I tried to write a sequel.
The director's cut.
Yeah. So Vitriol, I'm editing that, so I think I'm a few weeks off, and then he's gonna narrate it, and hopefully by the end of the year, it'll show up at some festivals. And then
very excited for that. There's
something wrong with Paul, probably, like you said, a year. So if we shoot it in April, hopefully,
then the editing process, and then I think within a year they'll open up
2022.
They'll open up the festivals within a year, I think. But you submit it and goes through the process. So I'd say, what are we in February now? Maybe, I mean, there will be film festivals, but to like open up, I would say
probably the
2022.
Fall.
Yeah, I heard Murphy's considering 50%. So
I was starting, but you never know. This thing could die out, and we could all be all right. But still, it's still a little off. Like wear masks, do this, be safe. But in like normal life, sometimes they say 2022. It's not going to be for a while. But the way things are going, I think maybe we'll be back to normal next time around.
I hope so.
Normal.
I keep saying that.
We're ready to.
I think so, because it is going down. It is dropping. And that's why he's putting, they're putting, opening things up, because less hospitalizations, a lot less, and a lot less people passing away from it. Yeah. And it's because, I mean, they really got to get more people getting the shot, because that's what helps. That's what's doing it. So the more of that, then everyone else will just get the herd immunity. Yeah.
Get grandma vaccinated.
Yes.
Get your grandma's vaccinated.
My parents get their second one tomorrow, and I get my first one.
Oh, my mom got hers tonight at 6:50.
So she's feeling good. Everything's fine.
Second one.
No, first one. First one. It was, and she had an appointment for next week, and I got a sooner one. So. And then she sent me a bunch of her like old lady friends, and I've been getting them appointments because they don't know how to. They don't know how to do it. There's like this this access problem with the elderly. They're the ones who need it, and they can't get the appointment.
I was happy to get in. I have to go to Atlantic City for it, but I got in. But I didn't pick during the week because of school and all that. So I don't want to travel all the way down there and back. So I just said Saturday I'm going to hang out and go down.
You got a hotel?
Yeah.
Hit the Tun Tavern. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
The old Tun Tavern.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Duck, or is it? What was the Duck? Duck. What is it called? Duck Tavern. The Duck Tavern.
Duck Tavern.
Yeah, and then there's
I know
the street. There's the
that's on Atlantic.
The one. There's the other one right across. There's the Irish pub, and then there's the the other one across from there, that the Tennessee Avenue. Good stuff.
All right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
CJ knows all the bars in Atlantic City.
Yeah. So before you go, you got to promote your websites where we can see your stuff, all that kind of thing. So why don't you get started?
Well, I strangely enough, I deleted my Instagram and then came back with a baking Instagram because I'm into baking now because of COVID. So there you go, Alex Aldea Baking.
Gotta get your regular Instagram up again. That's what sells.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where everyone's at nowadays. I'm on Instagram now.
Less social media, probably good for the old noggin on a certain level. But alexaldea.com if you want to see some of my stuff or get in touch with me for any reason. And I'm on Vimeo, and most of my stuff, including my reel, is there. So if you'd like to check that out.
I just joined TikTok.
I deleted my TikTok because I got heavily addicted. So no more TikTok for me.
The only thing on my TikTok is a school TikTok. So we have everyone that's on there, I was showing them how to use the stop motion effect. So it was only me sitting on my desk moving like a can, taking a picture can, and then putting music to it. So there's like 5 of them up there, and they all have and this was like 2 days ago, and it got 500 views.
That's awesome. That's great.
And it's just music going. The kids love it.
Me and my son are binging Curb Your Enthusiasm. He just turned 14, so I don't know. Like I was watching it once, like a rerun, and he's like, he likes the Leon character.
Oh,
you watch it?
Yeah, of course. So Curb. I was on Curb.
So he's on TikTok. I don't know how he's got 1,500 followers. I don't know what he's doing on there. But he did something on TikTok where he posted his best TV characters of all time.
Yeah.
Larry David's number 1, and Leon from Curb Your Enthusiasm's number 2.
Really?
Like, all right, cool.
You got to have him watch the movie with Larry David, The Clear Water.
With John Hamm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What was it? Clear History. Clear History.
Clear History, yeah.
Very funny. I'd say most of that movie was all improvised. So it was basically watching Larry David in his show, but they made a movie about it.
Yeah,
and it was that character. Good. It was so funny.
It was like a Netflix movie, I think.
Something like HBO. It was an HBO movie. So everyone's in this movie, and they're all improvising. Liv Schreiber plays an hysterical part.
I've seen it.
Yeah, very huge, funny. But
huge fan. So
you could tell a lot of the scenes though that they're ad libbing and saying stuff because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But Michael Keaton's amazing in it, and him and the guy. What was the guy from Saturday Night Live who was on that other? That was
like 10 years ago, wasn't it? It was right.
Yeah, something like that. Now I got already. So it was Larry David, Michael Keaton, and the new show with Henry Winkler, and he's like an actor, but he's a murderer. Barry.
Oh, Barry.
What's the actor's name? It's from
Hader.
So yeah,
Bill Hader.
So it's Bill Hader and Michael Keaton and Larry David, and they want to blow up Ham's house because he's rich, and apparently,
Michael Keaton's not rich.
Well, the character, he's
see.
really rich, and they don't like him, and there's a whole long story about it. But Michael Keaton just doesn't like him because his family used to live in a big house. So he wants to. He's like, I want to blow up the house, and they're like, sure, let's do it. So they're trying to blow this house up, and once they get to do it, they find out it was being built for a children's home for like poor kids or sick kids and all this stuff. So they blow the house up, this mansion.
They blow it up anyway.
They couldn't stop it in time. It's so funny. So funny. It's hysterical. So it definitely check that out, people. It's really funny.
How did we get on that?
I have no idea.
Oh, I think you said TikTok, that reminded me of that. Okay.
So,
my website is www.graymachinefilms.com. And you're Cullen, and we're done, right?
Yeah, we're watching it. We're all out of here. So I might have a special combo show possibly on Sunday with 3 Alarm Comics. So it'll be exciting if that does happen. I think it might. So hopefully we'll see. We got some crazy guests coming on. I'm not sure, but I will advertise it once I know for sure. And we got a bunch of new Cullen on Films coming up. So stay tuned. We got some cool people, cool guests on its way, and we continue to do this. Thanks so much. This is episode I don't even know, 58. Thank you.
Thanks, CJ. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, guys.